McFarland, and today we have a special pair of guests. Please help me welcome the acclaimed scientists Walter Cannon and Philip Bard. Excuse me, but where's Walter Cannon?
Oh, he's dead.
But you're dead too.
Yes, you see, well, I'm less dead.
And why, may I ask, do you have this framed portrait with you?
Well, he's a rather dashing chap, isn't he?
It doesn't even make any sense, but whatever. I didn't want to pay two zombie psychologists anyway. So let's get on with the interview. How exactly did you come up with this theory?
Well, you see, it all started with the James Lange theory of emotion. Now, they believe that people's emotions were derived from their bodily reaction to a stimulus. It was a lot of trollop. And you see, Walter Cannon here came up with a much more logical theory.
Well, that's a bold claim to make. Could you elaborate more on an example, to make it easier for our audience to understand?
Certainly. You ever see a handsome young man walking down the street, felt your heart flutter and knew you were smitten with him?
Certainly.
Well, you ever base jumped and you were scared to death while you were falling from 30,000 feet in the air?
Yes.
The same bodily reaction, your heart's racing, but it's a completely different emotion.
I'm not sure I follow you.
You see, back in the 1920s, my colleague and predecessor, Walter Cannon, he questioned the current theory of emotion on the grounds that I presented to you. Now, he believed that, in fact, the person's emotions affected their body.
It's fascinating, but how exactly did he come to this conclusion?
Well, you see, he dissected cats' brains.
You did what?
Oh, yes, it's quite interesting. He would completely sever the cat's afferent nerves of the sympathetic nervous system, and it meant that their bodies were completely unable to react to any sort of stimulus at all. And then he'd introduce a stimulus designed to create emotional response. Say, spraying the cats with water.
And was there?
Oh yes, the cats were quite angry.
My God.
Oh yes, it's quite fascinating. You can see these cats are very angry, but without any sort of bodily response even being possible. We need a demonstration of this. Roll that footage.
Cannon sure does seem like an interesting fellow.
Oh, that he does. In fact, I loved his research methods so much, I decided to dissect even more cat brains.
You can't be serious.
I'm as serious as a kitty heart attack.
Oh my goodness. Were any cats hurt?
No, of course not. The APA would never roll with that. I simply tried to identify which structure of the brain was responsible for emotion.
Okay, so what was responsible for the production of emotion?
Well, you see, when I removed the cortex of the cats, they became very aggressive and emotional, and so symptoms of what I like to call sham rage.
And what, may I ask, is sham rage?
Well, I'd love to tell you that, but first, it seems like it's time for a word from our sponsors.
That's my line!
We'll be right back.
still don't try. Don't let your heart get heavy, child, inside you. There's a strength that lies. Don't let your soul get lonely, child, it's only time it will go by. Don't look for love in faces, places, it's in you, that's where you'll find.
Pets offer an unconditional love that can be very helpful to people with depression.
Hello, and welcome back to the Yesterday Show with our Yester scientist, Philip Bard.
Walter couldn't be here today because, well, he's dead.
We know. But what is sham rage?
Well, it's...
You've lost me.
Well, that was sham rage. It's when animals have their cerebral cortexes removed, like the cats in our experiment, they exhibit what I call sham rage. They hiss and bite and claw in response to even mild stimuli, like a belly rub.
So it'd be like you doing another weird, dark joke and me hauling off and punching you.
That would be real rage. My stimuli is way too caliente to be considered mild.
Fantastic. What did you study? Anything that involved mutilating cats?
Well, I studied Phineas Gage, and he came pre-mutilated.
I'm scared, but I really shouldn't ask this question, but please explain.
Well, you see, Phineas Gage was a teeny-weeny incident at the workplace, and a giant metal rod went through his brain.
That doesn't seem teeny-weeny.
He was fine! But his emotive personality became uninhibited and aggressive. And because of that, we came to the conclusion that the cerebral cortex, which had been, to say the least, destroyed by the accident, we believed that in fact inhibited emotion.
Well, that actually sounds like credible scientific information.
Of course, and then I tested my theory by severing cats' cortexes, watching them react.
Of course. Well, it has been an interesting interview. Thank you, Mr. Bard. I
Oh, you're
hope you
quite
have a restful afterlife.
For the cat's sake.
Yeah, sure. Get out of here and take your picture.